We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Like whatever conversation you're having with people and sending that to whoever. But you may be safer if you use a cell phone that's all free software. And there are some. There is the Open Moco phone. I don't know how well that's working yet. And I think if you get the professional version of the Google phone, then that's really free software. Although I'm not sure all of it is free software.
Amazing. Long segment coming up. This one's short, but another question. And again, all these IT people and hackers send me this stuff, and it's mainline Pentagon reports and Air Force Cyber Command San Antonio, and it's the general commanding their forces to attack our own internet, to test its strengths and weaknesses. And then I've seen hackers have told me, and I've seen some blurbs about how it's really the government hacking the hospitals and hacking power plants to then have a pretext to bring in more of their own control. Are you familiar with governments false flagging or staging attacks on their own systems as a pretext to get more funding and control?
Well, I don't know about any instances of that on the internet. That's not what I specialize in. So I haven't read news about a thing like that I recall. But it wouldn't surprise me that much. I mean, if you could have the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and you could have the supposed weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, then I guess why wouldn't they lie about who is? I wouldn't put it past them to stage such an attack and lie about it, but that doesn't mean that I know that they're doing so.
Sure, yeah, that really wasn't in the news. I mean, there were a few stories. It's mainly bizarre hour-long video briefings with the Air Force and people. And I'm sure you did hear about the head of cybersecurity a couple months ago quit and said the feds are taking over the web. I won't be part of this. I mean, when their own head of cybersecurity quits, I think we have a big problem here.
Yeah, I didn't read about that, and now that I've heard it from you, I'll take a look.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I can't keep track of it all either, and it was only in a few articles. When we come back, I want to talk about how do we save the internet? How do we expand it? How do we make it more free versus the architecture that it seems to be leaning towards? Go ahead and start down those lines, sir.
Well, my work will help you make sure that your computer is under your control. But beyond that, there's nothing that each one of us can directly do. So if there's censorship or if there is, say, surveillance going on in the internet that connects you to me, neither you nor I can simply make a change to turn that off. The only way I know of we can stop that.
Well, stay there. Got a break. I'm sorry to interrupt. Got a break for the satellite. Well, we really appreciate Richard Stallman joining us. We'll give you the websites and how you can get involved and donate, be part of the organization. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, those are the Lakotas. I didn't lie when I told you these are the prettiest silver coins I've ever seen, put out by the Native American Nation. Tell you about those in the last 2 minutes of the show today. Look at those babies. No wonder that's the best-selling silver coin out there right now. All right. We'll tell you about a few sponsors. We're going back to Mr. Stallman. Again, the website is gnu.org. We'll give you out some of the others as well. I suggest everybody out there start fighting for the internet, for freedom of computing, because there is no doubt what Jay Rockefeller is saying, we'd be better off not having an internet, that these guys mean business. Before we go back to our guest, AcolaBlue.com is one of our great sponsors. Atmospheric water generator in your own home grabs the neutral pH water out of the air, then passes it through 7 filters, including carbon, reverse osmosis, and an antibacterial, antifungal UV light. Check out more at EcolaBlue.com, ECOLO Blue.com, or 1-800-691-6043, 1-800-691-6043. And another great sponsor is Pepperspray.com. You know, a lot of cities and counties and states have restrictions on the Second Amendment. People send their wives and daughters and sons out in their apartments or homes unarmed. I believe in tasers. I believe in stun guns. I believe in pepper spray. I believe in non-lethal self-defense. And as the economy implodes and home invasions explode, it is now time, if you don't want a firearm, to get a high-quality mace gun, pepper spray. They got so many products around since '94. The best company out there, the best prices, free shipping on orders above $99. Check them out, ladies and gentlemen, at Pepper Spray, one word, pepperspray.com, or 1-800-908-9988, 1-800-908-9988, 1-800-908-9988. Okay, let's go back to Richard Stallman, who invented the GNU Linux system, has a big free software, internet freedom organization. Again, sir, I'm literally a troglodyte when it comes to all these terms. Again, reintroduce yourself for folks that don't know, and I'm just going to sit back, shut up, and hear what your solutions are, ways to fight this. You got cut off by the break with how do we stop the governments from trashing the web. They openly say the people are kicking their butt. They don't like free speech. I get restricted everywhere by MySpace, YouTube. They admit I'm censored. I'm just little old Alex Jones. You got the floor, sir.
Well, what I started 25 years ago was developing a free software operating system called GNU. And the idea is free software is software that respects your freedom, and you control it. The users control it individually if they know how and want to go to the trouble, but also the users collectively control it. Any group of users that want the program to work a certain way, they're free to develop their version which works that way. Those who know how to program do it, and those who have the same preferences use that version, and if they don't like that version, they use some other version. And you can also pay people to make the changes you want. So, for instance, your show, if you wanted to change a free program, well, you personally don't know how, maybe none of your staff knows how, but there are companies that would make those changes, just as there are carpenters you could hire to make changes in your office. And they'll just do the work the way you want it done. And if you want to change it again some other day, you can hire somebody else, because nobody has a monopoly. It's a free market, this business of support for free software. So
and does that allow a kind of evolution? It seems like where the non-free softwares are stagnant, except for minor changes, this accelerates development, doesn't it?
Well, it may or may not. I won't claim that all non-free programs are stagnant. That depends how much work the developer is putting in. But regardless of whether it makes fast progress or slow progress, it makes progress in the direction that the developer wants. And if there's something the developer doesn't want you to be able to do, like, for instance, access a certain file more than 5 times, he'll program it not to let you. So proprietary programs frequently have these malicious features, which we call digital restrictions management, or DRM, or digital handcuffs. They are designed to stop you from doing things. So that program may not be your servant. It may be your prison guard. In any case, these are things that we can take control of ourselves. We can free ourselves and each other, and that's what we've been doing in the free software movement since I started it. But there are other areas where we just can't solve the problem that way. Surveillance in the internet service provider, well, we can't stop that by choosing to use a different program in our own computers, because it's not happening in our computers. It's happening in some central office. Now, one thing that helps somewhat is to use programs like the GNU Privacy Guard for encryption of the messages and files we send each other. But even even encryption doesn't do the whole job. And when there's censorship, in Australia, the main organization that fights for civil liberties on the internet, which is Electronic Frontiers Australia, was forced to take down a link that they had put up in a discussion of censorship, showing what kinds of things are getting censored. Well, they were forced to take down that link on the threat of being fined $11,000 a day.
Yeah, let me back you up on that. They've announced, the government itself calls it Chinese-style net censorship, and proudly are now issuing hundreds and hundreds of sites. They're now saying thousands on these lists that you can't visit, you can't link to, and then you can't link and say, look, WikiLeaks leaking government documents. You can't even say that's been censored. That's very 1984 Kafkaesque.
Yeah. Well, the Australian government has been trashing human rights for many years, typically in the name of preventing terrorism, as many other governments are doing. Any given week their excuse is either terrorists or pedophiles, but neither of them is anywhere near as dangerous as governments that don't respect our freedom.
Absolutely. Historically, governments killed 200 and something million people last century. I mean, tyranny has gotten a whole new lease on life. So specifically, what do we do? I mean, if citizens and companies try to go with free software solutions and support groups like yours, what else can we do? I mean, I guess we vote with our dollars, we vote with our time. I mean, let's say I'm a company with 20-something.